Connor, the first question we have for yourself is who is the toughest player you've played against in the Highland League?
Quite a few, to be honest. I recently did a podcast, and Sam Mackay was right up there, probably on his day. Such a talented player. Probably could have went a lot higher. Made him aware that not long ago at a night out that I was annoyed with him that he hadn't pushed himself as far as his potential could have went. When he was on it, when I was in there, and he was a different player. Like, you couldn't get near him. And yeah, I'll stick with that one.
So, with Saturday's game being called off, what did the team and management do with a spare Saturday?
Just had some time with the kids, to be honest. It's nice to get a Saturday off. I like to give the boys a Saturday off as well because I think they deserve it. But we give them gym sessions to do and runs and that, and fair play, and every single one of them do them. They all do them first thing in the morning as well, which is good, so they can have their whole day off. So, yeah, yes, it's good. Get them into training would be good, but getting facilities isn't the easiest. So, give them a gym session.
Who is the best player you've played with in your career?
He's out there. He knows it already.
Blair Lottie?
Robbie, like it's a no-brainer. It's I don't even have to think about it, to be honest. I think my first spell at Nairn kind of proved how well the partnership worked. He set up a lot of my goals, and we just had something that telepathic. Really, we didn't really even need to speak. We just knew where each other were, and yeah, by far head and shoulders above everybody else. Such a clever player. Wasn't blessed with the greatest pace in the world, but speed of thought was way ahead of everybody else. So yeah, easy to choice.
What's the biggest challenge of managing at the Highland League level, and how do you handle it?
I don't really know, to be honest. I sort of just take it in my stride. There's a lot more to it than what people may think. It's not part time. Anyways, you're continuously dealing with like the coaching staff, and you're sorting out sessions, and you're picking teams, and obviously I'm speaking to Grant Monroe pretty much daily, and speak to Coco sometimes as well. So it's pretty relentless, to be honest. But I think we've been pretty lucky with any hurdles really so far. I think this year we've sort of pushed on, and it's been a lot easier than last year. Last year was a challenge because you're fighting every single game to get every point to keep the club in the league, So I think last year was difficult because you're trying to figure out the opposition more than we probably are this year, just to get results, and thankfully we did that.
What's been your favourite game so far as Clark manager?
Been quite a few. Obviously, the Bucky game last year was a good one. It gave us that daylight that we needed against the league champions, and we were pretty good. And obviously the Nairn game this year in the Scottish Cup, and obviously the North of Scotland Cup, we went to penalties. That was probably the most nervous I've ever been in a penalty shootout. I've never been nervous in my life hitting a penalty, but I sort of stood my own, and I was nervous for the boys. So I would say that game probably stood out because we were 2-0 down, we were backs against the walls, we were dead and buried, and then we just came out of nowhere and just pushed on. So yeah, that's probably one of the highlights.
Who's the most improved player since you've come in?
I would quite comfortably say Troy. I think he's changed so much this year compared to last year. He's went away in pre-season, and I think he actually went with Ferg to do some PT work, and he's come back fitter and stronger than he was last year. And it's nice to see certain things you're telling him and trying to coach him with, that he's actually doing it in games now, thinking about his movement more and not relying on his pace and his trickery. And yeah, I think he's by far the most improved.
What attracted you to the Clark job?
I've always said that if there was two jobs that I probably would have wanted in the Highland League, it probably would have been Nairn and Clark, to be honest. And Nairn one didn't materialise, and these things happen for a reason, And I got offered the Clark job years ago, and I turned it down because it just wasn't the right time. But yeah, as soon as the job came up, myself and Scott Dowling spoke, and I made him aware that the time was right now, as long as things went the way I wanted them to go. And And yeah, here we are, thoroughly enjoying it.
Out with the game, what do you do to relax and what do you enjoy doing?
No time, work, work, work. To be honest, because it's myself and my own business, it's just a bit relentless. But when I get a chance, I love to disappear up the mountains with the dog, just on my own with him, and enjoy the silence and the non-questions.
What would you regard as a successful season for Clach?
I think I think already it's been a successful season. You know, I went in at the start of the season saying the top 10 would have been our goal, considering who we've signed and the experience we've brought in, and we're currently sitting in fifth. You know, pushing the boys to try and finish top four, and that will be the goal between now and the end of the season. And if we get it, great. If we don't, then we'll not be too disheartened because what we've done this year already to date has been nothing short of outstanding, to be honest.
What do you miss most about Ireland?
Just friends and family, to be honest. Never get a chance to go back. Um, you know, you've got the football season, and then you've got like a 7 week window where you can go back and see people. But with my own work, it's difficult. You know, I've quite recently been heading over on a Sunday and coming back on a Tuesday. I think I've missed a couple of training sessions because of that, but I feel I've got to do that just now. You know, with certain family members not too well and stuff. So yeah, I think it's important that I do that. And I've got two good boys there who step in all the time and they're brilliant. So yeah, friends and family, to be honest. I miss the crack.
Did you ever have the opportunity to play in England on a high level?
Um, I was meant to go to Millwall on trial after Ross County, but unfortunately I dislocated my shoulder a couple of weeks before that, and it sort of put me out for 4 or 5 months, and it put me in no man's land, to be honest. Um, Celtic and Rangers were sniffing when I was younger at Ross County. I believe Celtic wanted me to go down on trial and play a few games, but Ross County didn't let me do it. So out with that, no, nothing else, no.
And we've been told to ask this by the man himself. What is your honest opinion on Grant Munro?
Extremely helpful, extremely helpful. You know, I've got the coaches there that we speak to daily, sort the teams out, but there's things I wouldn't really speak to them about, as in wages for players and trying to crack deals for players that we're looking at and targets. And it's good for me because it's not good for me, it's great for me because I speak to the players who we're looking to bring in about what the goal is, what the vision is, and the plan going forward. And then Grant takes over and he deals with the finance side of things, which I quite like because it takes that away from you and you don't really get involved in it because that can sometimes make things a bit awkward between management and players. And I just think that having Grant there is yeah, it's a bit of a godsend for me, to be honest.
That's great. Thanks very much, Conor.
Welcome.